This is the Franklin Public Library Board of Trustees meeting. It's March 27th, 2024. And this meeting is being held by Zoom. I'd like to first of all call the meeting to order, and then we'll pledge the flag, pledge allegiance to the flag.
The United States.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which
for
it
which it
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
and
with
justice
liberty
and
and
justice
justice for all.
for all.
I'd like to call the roll now. Excuse me just a second. Kevin? NBC?
Yes.
Iris Kislin? No, she's absent. Deanna Gresham? No. Nick Champa, I'm here. Agnes, good to see you. You're here. Amy Warsawala? No. Kevin McNeil, I think he's probably going to be coming, but he's not here. Mayor Kramer? Yes. I see that there is, and January Adams is here, is with us, as is Bob, our technical help. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law. Schedule and notification of this meeting have been provided to the Courier News, the Home News Tribune, and the Franklin Township Clerk. Copies have been posted in the library's vestibule and are also available at the reference desk. At this point, I would like to, Kevin, hello.
Hey, I was having
Thanks for
trouble
joining.
signing on.
Yay, Kevin.
Amy is here as well.
Hi,
Amy,
good evening.
Hi, Amy.
Amy, where, oh, wait a minute.
Yes.
Oh, there. Amy, hello. Okay, that gives us pretty good. Like to open this first section of the public comment portion of the meeting. If there's anyone in the public who would like to speak at this time, this is an opportunity to do so. There will be another session toward the end of the meeting. I see Michelle would like to speak.
Yes, please.
You're on.
All right, great. Before I start, am I allowed to ask the question? I put in a library reconsideration form for a book in the library. If it's been decided already, I feel like I don't really need to speak, or am I allowed to know that? Miss Adams might have the answer.
I was finalizing the response to you. It's not quite ready.
Okay.
You're getting an email. You will get an email.
I will say that I know this has been taken up. I have participated in a small way, and be patient. A response is coming.
Okay, so do you want me to give my little spiel on why I would like that book restricted, or no?
You may.
Okay, great. So as I guess you all probably know, I've had the pleasure of meeting Miss Adams as we previously discussed a library book called Gender Queer, and we had a great conversation. And I brought this book to her attention not because of the subject matter, but for the pictures that were present in the book. And she took the time to write me a very thoughtful reply to my request to move this book behind the librarian's desk. And I really appreciate the email that she sent me. That was very nice of her, and it was well done. But in her response to me, she cited the Freedom to Read Act, which, among other things, rightly suggests that libraries should have inclusive and diverse materials available to all patrons at all times, and I completely agree with that. And regardless of the opinions and the subjects expressed in any book, it should have the right to exist and be read, and no book should ever be banned. And I can't make that any clearer. I am not in support of banning any book at any time. But having said that, I am in complete support of restricting pornography and obscene materials to patrons who are not 18 years old. And for this reason, and for no other reason really than it's the law. There's a bill in New Jersey. It's called S-2421, and you guys are probably pretty familiar with it because it establishes requirements for library material in public libraries, and it protects librarians from harassment, among a bunch of other things in the bill. But also in this bill, there's a section that's titled Obscenity for Persons Under 18. And just bear with me for a minute as I read this section. Obscene material means any description, narrative account, display, depiction of a specified anatomical area or specified sexual activity contained in or consisting of a picture or other representation, publication, sound recording, live performance, or film, which by means of posing, composition, format, or animated sensual details, which our books are, emit sensuality and blah, blah, blah. Obscenities also mean less than completely and opaquely covered human genitals, pubic region, areas of the... What? Does somebody have something to say? Okay. Okay. I'll keep going.
Okay,
Human
you'll have
male
another minute or so.
Okay, well, hopefully you'll give me a minute and a half. I'm probably the only one going to speak. Obscenity also means that you can't show human genitals in a discernibly turgid state, even if they're covered. So if anybody wants me to continue reading that, I can, but I think you all get the idea of what S-2421 deems as obscene. Suffice it to say, I think we all understand what obscenities are and what pornography is. So there are several books in our public library that contain obscenity as defined in this bill. And in the interest of time, I'm just going to focus on two. And that's one that I've already discussed with Ms. Adams, Genderqueer, which she has said will remain in the library. And then the other one is the book that I just recently filed a reconsideration claim for, and that's called Let's Talk About It. The subtitle is The Teen's Guide to Sex, Relationship, and Being Human. And you can note that the word teen is in that title, so there's no doubt on who this book targets. These books are found in the graphic novel section of our library, and that's not explicitly graphic. That's the comic book section, which is, kind of another way to say graphic section. So, so I don't think that
Let's wrap it up.
I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to wrap it up with the photos in the book. Okay. These are the photos in the book, and I'm going to have to hold them to the side because it's not going to be able to show you. These are human genitalia in an aroused state. This is oral sex. Okay. And if you guys think this is fun for me, this is awful. This is awful. This is anal sex. Okay. This is the book for teens. These are all other books. These are deemed okay in our library. In the email that I received, here we have females with male body parts and males with female body parts, which really isn't the purpose of showing this picture, except for the fact that it's pornographic and obscene. You guys get the idea, right?
Michelle, thank you very much.
My question is, if I can just get to the question, is can we please move these books behind the librarian's desk, not anywhere else other than, I'm the only one speaking. Does anybody ever really join these meetings? I mean, really, it's just the end of my question. It's one question.
I've given you more than the usual time. And
may I ask what the time limit is? May I ask what the time limit is,
It's an
sir?
embarrassing question because I don't have a specific time
so then I
limit,
can
but
just get my
think we have
question
given you-
out then. I think
No,
I could just...
think the answer that you've gotten is that a response is coming to you.
Mr.
and
President,
You'll be patient.
Mr. President, may I speak? We did not set an allotted time, so you can't, I don't think you should limit her time to speak.
Well,
Thank you, Mayor.
I think that,
Sounds like she's wrapping up anyways.
I am wrapping up, and honestly,
Michelle, can you take 30 seconds more? Is that enough?
well, so I did time myself, and it's about a 2.5 minute. It's about 2.5 minutes. So, and that's total. And I've gotten through most of it already, so I can wrap it up with just my finishing. So my question to the board is simply this: can we please move these books that contain obscene content as defined by the law to behind the librarian's desk so that only patrons 18 and up can access them? It's not enough to move them to another place in the library other than the graphic novel section, because these books really do need to be supervised by law. I think it's pretty clear that these books do contain obscene materials, and it's not enough to assume that parents are going to supervise their child in the comic book section or any other area of the library for that matter. I think that these books by law, just like if you had a Hustler magazine, which contained identical pictures to what I just showed you. And again, if you couldn't see them, I get it. I'll email them to you if you want. But I'll just wrap it up with saying that parents should feel free to and safe to have their kids in the library at all times without having to worry about them coming across this in the Batman and Superman section. So thank you so much for letting me finish. I do appreciate it. And thank you, Mayor Kramer, for stepping in there.
Okay, Michelle, thank you.
Sure.
So I have a question. You referenced S2421. Laws aren't referenced that way. This sounds like a bill that's before Congress, before the legislature.
I misspoke. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so it's not the law yet, maybe. I'm not commenting on the validity of your point. I just wanted to clear that up.
True. There are other laws, though, that are in place with pornography. I didn't reference those, but I can in the future.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. And thank you, Mayor Kramer. Is there anyone else who would like to speak at this part of the public session of the meeting? Seeing none, I think we should move on to discussion of the minutes from the February 28th trustees meeting. The trustees have gotten a copy in their packet. Is there any discussion on these minutes? Is there a motion with regard to these minutes?
A motion that we accept the minutes.
Second.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Mayor. Okay.
Is Agnes?
Yes.
Now, now we should have the discussion since it's been seconded. I really get things out of order occasionally. Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none. Those are...
You're not going to try to fish?
Ms. Lawson, could you mute? Thank you.
Those in favor of passing this motion signify by putting their hands up. I see that this motion has passed with 6 positive votes. Unanimously, there are 6 voting members. Okay. On to the director's reports. January, you're on.
We have our monthly financial reports, if anybody has any questions or concerns.
None from me. How about the operations report?
Okay. The ILS, we still have a tentative go live date of May 15th. The gallery roof project, now we have a start date of April 8th. And we've already started moving things around out of the gallery to clear the way for the workers to start. We had the the fire department chief and his, I guess, his associate. They were in because we wanted to make sure that everything was going to be safe for the public when we barricaded off certain parts, and that'll be okay. So we're set on that. The Adult Services Department had 47 adult programs that 623 people came to. The Youth Services had 34 programs that 1,150 people came to. And the application window for the annual Summer Reading Buddies volunteer program opened on March 6th. And so far we've got 13 applicants. And the Franklin Park branch manager and the head of youth services and one of her part-time staff members went to Franklin Park School on March 14th for the school's literacy and math night, and they had a very good showing, and they gave out a lot of library card applications and gave out a lot of information about the library. So they came back very excited that it was a very productive night. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you, January.
Thank you.
President's report. I have a brief president's report that I'd like to read. Some of you may have received it. I just wrote it last night. So, President's report, March 27th, 2024. Upon visiting the Franklin Park branch yesterday, I was able to observe our librarian conduct a program for a first grade class from neighboring Franklin Park School. It was a pleasure to see a few dozen young students, each with materials in hand, having a jolly good time. I also learned from staff that on Saturday, March 23rd, during a prolonged heavy rainstorm, that the rain gardens and the retention basin functioned as designed and intended. So that's it. Correspondence and communication. Is there any? Anyone have any? No. Okay. Seeing none, I'd like to move on to old business. One of the items that's come up before, and therefore is old business, is EV charging stations. At our last meeting, we had a wonderful presentation telling us all about, first of all, one expert's view of how many charging stations could go into a small parking lot of our branch. But also, there was a discussion of the difference between level 2 and level 3 charging stations and how they're allocated. We have word from Mayor, from you, that there are plans in the works to install a dual slow level 2 charging station in the vicinity of the library building. As yet, we haven't seen any plans for this, and starting to gather. I did find out today what type of charging station is envisioned. And I did, not knowing where this might go, I feel that it's important that the library have some discussion of the plans as they evolve. I'm not sure what level the plans are at, but maybe, Mayor, you could help us with this. And I believe that Mr. Carl Hauk is in charge of this sort of thing, and I have asked him to not proceed while we're planning this major roof renovation. After that's done, I think that any plans, including electrical, running of electrical wires outdoors, running into the building, what requirements are there, we'd like to be part of this. So if you can help us by passing this along to Mr. Hauk and whoever else is involved.
I'm writing the email now, the advantage of a Zoom meeting.
Okay. Would anyone else like to talk about this item of old business or any other old business?
Is it a charging station I see between the police and the community building?
There are 12 such stations, each of them about 6 kVA. That's the power, it's the power that they can provide. There are 12, but 10 of them are reserved for township vehicles. The other 2 are in the parking lot, very close to the library, right across the parking lot from the library. And so this would raise the total from 12 to 14, but it would double the amount that are available to the public. That's my understanding. Is that what you understand, Mayor?
Yeah, there's 10 that the town uses for its electric vehicles.
Yeah.
Nick, in regards to the one here, if you guys want to go through it, just got to keep in mind that we'll have to add a transformer to the library to upgrade to provide enough power for that.
I have seen something on that, and what I saw is that there's a proposal to add a 45 kVA transformer merely to supply 12 kVA. I'm not totally convinced that there isn't 12 kVA available, but this would be part of the planning, and we could perhaps get Barry in our electrical department to help us determine whether that's really necessary.
The 45K was the electrician's recommendation because there's a sub panel that's controlled by one of our main breakers, and it's only being powered by 60 amps, and it's already being used. Some of it powers our IT closet, and some of it powers outlets other areas of the building. So I told the electrician, what does he think? And he said to make this sub panel have its own transformer. And the previous electrician that we hired, that has since retired, when they put it in, it was a full-size panel. And I'll show you the room if you want to look at it. It was a full-size panel. So he was thinking charging the whole panel, not just what we need only to do the charging stations for the vehicles. He was thinking of powering the vehicles, anything else we would want to use that would fill up this entire panel.
Okay. Yeah, we'll discuss that, but
I just want to make sure you had all the facts.
I don't have all the facts, but I'd love to get some more. Okay. Anyone else on any old business? Any other old business? Any new business? We have an important item here. January, would you like to? Well, January or Greg. The general subject is a proposed change order and a request for approximately another $6,000 to complete to the cost of replacing the butterfly room ceiling and roof.
I could talk. I've given copies of all this correspondence. Everybody should have gotten it in their packet.
Yes.
And to summarize, let's be back on March 19th, I got an email saying that basically that they, in my opinion, they measured wrong and they want $6,000 more. And then you can see some information from the architect who says in one sentence, it would have been difficult for the representative to field measure the roof prior to submitting the proposal. I'm not quite sure why he said that, because somebody did come to the library about maybe a month or 6 weeks ago and laser measured it. And I guess that's what prompted this email saying, well, we measured wrong originally, so now we need $6,000 more. I also take issue with the statement from, let's see, from John Quiones, who says that they already came down in price. Well, the reason they came down in price was that we changed the specifications from the windows in the butterfly garden that would open to just having a plain sheet of glass that would no longer open. So it's not like they took a loss on it. We changed the scope of the project and made it smaller. So those are my concerns about it. And then I also attached the original proposal that you voted on and agreed to on January 4th, and I sent into them that night. So the rest is up to the board.
Where did they get the original measurements from?
For the butterfly garden?
Yeah, for what they talked, the wrong measurements. They said they had the wrong measurements.
Yeah, well, they're saying they took them originally from the as-built.
Right.
And then when they came out and measured in person, it was different. And I say that's their mistake.
So I quickly checked with Mr. Vornlocker about that, since I was contacting him anyway. And that's basically what he said, their mistake.
Okay, now what I found out today is that in reading this, I didn't know who Structures Unlimited was, but Structures Unlimited is another word that Calwall goes by. So Calwall is the supplier of the materials to All Action, who won the bid, and that's the company we're dealing with. So what Mr. Quinones, who is president of All Action, told me is that the $5,926 extra dollars is because of a price increase by Structures Unlimited / Calwall. I don't know how long we're going to go around with this, but they're not going to be starting this job for quite some time.
Past majority is.
Till they finish the big roof. I think we should hold out and stick to what Bob Vornlocker and Greg says and what January says, and what I believe is that they made a quote. They gave us a quote, not an estimate, but a quote, and they should stick to it. Down the line, I think we'll have to, if this drags on and on, I'm willing to speak to Calwall, and we may have to negotiate some kind of a
Agreement.
but I think we have a good chance of holding out and not accepting this price increase.
Do you think that without the price increase, they will do a good job?
They have to.
They have to, but you know what people think about people's, they didn't give me what I wanted, so I didn't have the materials. That's why they do such haphazard job.
Well, they would have to be inspected by the building inspectors, and if it doesn't pass code, they'd have to come back and fix it and end up costing them more money.
Definitely.
Okay.
The other thing I can say is that if it is Calwall or Structures Unlimited, whichever you want to call them, Their part of this contract is close to $1 million. It might be foolish to just collapse on this $6,000 because who knows what they're going to come up with next week.
I spoke to Steve, who's the my contact for Town Hall, and when I asked him about this, he said, "Well, I've already reduced it by $3,000." He's like, "It was like 9,000 and change, almost 10." He said, "So I reduced it by 3." He said, "And that's all I can absorb."
And who was this? Was this Mr. Del Garcia?
Yes.
Okay. That's good to know, Greg. Thank you.
And then when I spoke to All Action Glass, the owner said he can't absorb anymore because he's kept the price pretty low as it is.
That's exactly what he told me, but I don't think we have to accept this at this point. You know, probably by our next meeting, we'll be a little closer to having to do something.
By your next meeting, we should be done or close to being done with phase 1 of the construction project. We're doing it in 2 phases.
April 24.
Well, you're doing 2 stages with the big roof, right?
Right, with the big roof. What I'm saying is they, at best guess, they wouldn't start, if they had all the materials delivered, they wouldn't start the butterfly until June.
Yeah.
At best guess.
Okay.
Mr. Bornlocker tells me that the charger EV charging project can't start before July. So you should be okay.
And we should certainly be in on any plans for that. If you can facilitate that for us, Mayor, we appreciate
We'll
that.
aim for that tomorrow. Yep.
Okay. Okay, so is there a general agreement that we're not going to accept this price increase at this time?
Yes.
Yeah. Just one more question. So I'm looking at this as built. Is that something that we provided to them, or is that just something that they got, from public records or the dimensions? But that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like when they got the measurements, right? They took it from this as built. Did we provide them with?
Greg has something to add to that.
So when we were asked to look into getting this project done, we reached out to CalWall, knowing that a little history, when this part of the building was being built back in 2005, CalWall was the original provider of the roof. And then for budget reasons, it was scaled back to a different style roof, which was called Super Sky. Super Sky is a very thin plastic, has no R value, no thermal insulation, none whatsoever. It was a very cheap roof that we found out afterwards, and it's leaking all over the place. It's failing. The sun's beating it up. So that's why we went back to the original vendor. He came out to do a sales pitch, and he asked to see the as-builts. We provided him the copy, not to take with him, just to view at the library. And he made a comment. This was all the metal structures that are holding your roof up were designed originally for CalWall's product. So he said, we can put our panels on your roof without changing anything. So what I'm thinking is, he has the original plans in his office that were used to the butterfly roof, the awning out front, and the main gallery roof were all going to be CalWall material. And since none of the supports were changed when they went with the cheaper roof, he's probably using his original plans. And there may have been some minor alterations that he didn't account for. That's my summation. No one ever gave him anything to take home with him, unless he went to, like you suggested, maybe public office records.
Okay.
Thank you. Can we have a motion that just says that at the moment we don't have enough information to that at the moment we are not prepared to accept this, and we will wait and see what happens.
I'll make that motion.
What do we? So okay, yeah, I'm all for it. But I mean, what this? Are we put how? Anyway, I guess we'll see. We'll wait and see what happens. I don't know how far we're prepared to go for.
NBC?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Mayor, would you like to word that one?
I make a motion that we take no action at this time and revisit this at the next meeting.
Wonderful.
Okay. I second the motion.
Any discussion about the wording of the motion or the motion itself?
Could I hear the motion again?
That we take no action
No
at this
action.
time, and we will discuss it at the next meeting.
Next
Okay.
meeting.
Any further discussion on that motion? Those in favor signify by raising their hand. This motion has passed unanimously, 6-0. Is there any other new business?
I don't know if this is a new business for the library, but I have been I have been approached by several high school students who wants to volunteer to do some volunteering to the library during the summer break. I don't know how that.
The volunteer program that we have is the summer for teens is usually the summer reading buddies. We don't generally don't have other than adults as volunteers here, except for the summer reading program, summer reading buddies. But they're certainly welcome to apply for that. That's really worthwhile because it helps younger students, younger kids read.
Agnes, would this be in the main library or in your Franklin Park branch?
Both. We can do both.
I see. So
You can even do the teen center too.
oh, and the teen center. Okay. Well,
The same thing goes through all three branches.
Okay.
So we go to the website. They go to the website.
Yeah, look on the website. If you have trouble, just contact me and I'll tell you exactly where to look.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any other new business?
Nope.
I'd now like to open the second part of the public comment session. And any member of the public who would like to speak, they'll have, I think, a 3-minute time would be appropriate. Is there anybody? Michelle, 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to say that the mayor is correct. That was a bill, and I should have pointed that out earlier. The only reason I brought up that bill is because it has to do with everything else that I was discussing. There are actual laws that tell you that you cannot give pornography, such as in these books, to children under, I'm unclear whether it's 18 or 16, but in any case, 16, right?
Yes.
That's what I see, but in the bill it says
I'm
18,
a teacher for 50 years, I know.
Gotcha. Thank you. So my question is going to be, am I allowed to know right now just the gist of what the answer to my question is, that you've already made a decision? Can you just tell me, yes, they will remain, or no, they will be put somewhere where children don't have access?
January,
I suggest that you be patient and wait until January gets back to youth, please. Apparently, and I appreciate that, Agnes.
Good
Thank you.
answer.
And I'm sorry, I don't know your last name, ma'am, but
That's okay.
the
Agnes.
emails, the decision has already been made. Am I correct in assuming that 2 of you made the decision? Does it go before the entire board? How does that work?
Well, as you know from the form, it went to the Collection Development Committee.
Okay.
It's a big committee. And in addition to the committee members, I also showed it to Nick, the president, and a few other members of the public who were kind enough to give me their opinion. So that's the input that went into it. So the next step would be, if you're dissatisfied with the response from the Collection Development Committee, would be to go to the board.
Okay, but we're all here now and you already have the decision, but you can't tell me what it is. I'll have to wait another month.
Oh, no, I wouldn't have you wait. I was going to, like I said, I'm finalizing the email. I was going to send it out. I'd much rather give you the decision in writing.
Is there a legal reason why you can't tell me, yes, it will be moved, or no, it cannot be moved right now?
I'm not sure that this is a legal issue. I think this is a preference that our director wants to communicate with you in a very, in a way that you won't have to use your memory of it might be a long letter.
Oh, I'm sure you'll be sending me the letter no matter what. It's just a simple question right here in front of your board.
Written proof always,
members.
never oral, always written proof, always.
Okay, and I would say I'm not sure that there's a legal. It's just a practical and for accuracy. And
Gotcha.
Got
you. I'm glad I was able to ask the question.
I would say that you will probably get this response in, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 days, something like that.
I've been waiting a month already, so I'm sure that another few days.
You can wait 2 extra days, no problem.
It's not a big deal on my end. I'm just wondering if this particular board, because I'm assuming you're the board of trustees, you would review things like this with each other. That's why you're an advisory board, and that there might be some discussion on it now. But I will wait, not a problem. I've waited this long. I don't mind waiting another few days. That's all I have. So thanks so much.
You're welcome, Michelle.
Is there any other member of the public that would like to speak? Seeing none, I'll close the second portion of the public part of the meeting and confirm that our next meeting will be April 24th, and it will also be by Zoom. Is there a motion to adjourn? NBC has his hand up.
Yes.
Is there a second? Kevin? Kevin has seconded. Oh, and I'm sorry, Agnes may have beaten him to the second.
We're adjourning.
We're adjourning. Those in favor?
It's a race.
Thank you all.